If you've taken good advice and then still it happens, you've done your best. But if you didn't get that advice and based out of your inexperience, you transfer the patient, then you as an individual will feel guilty and you will not sleep well at night, let me tell you that. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we need to look not at the tertiary. The primary is the domain of the government, you can't handle it. But it's the secondary level of care, which is enormous, and it's 80% of healthcare is secondary level of healthcare. So you have good, and healthcare has two essential criteria. You just tell me your maternal mortality and you tell me your perinatal mortality and I know how good your country is. So when people tell me we have the largest hub of cardiovascular thoracic surgery in North India, I just want to ask them, tell me what's your maternal mortality rate in North India? How many cases do you lose of gastroenteritis? Okay, and how do you handle an emergency postpartum hemorrhage? So therefore, I think this got enormous capabilities, and I'm very glad that we are meeting together in such environments, thinking through business models which we can lead for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sanjeev Chowdhury. I am privileged to serve the Super Religare Laboratories, India's largest diagnostic network, as its chief executive. I have 4 statements to make. First, is government the largest customer of healthcare in India? Dr. Saab, please allow me to differ. That's not the case. I am the largest diagnostic service provider in the country. 1.5% of my revenue comes from the government. 98.5% of my revenue comes from people of India who are not the government. Today, if there is one big challenge that is facing the global ecosystem, it is the failure of the state system. Greece has failed, Italy has failed, Egypt has failed, many other countries are failing. Because we have laid our trust in the ability of the state to solve our problems. State has good intentions, but state has shoddy delivery. That's not just the case in our country, despite the fact that our state hospitals have some of the finest medical talent in the world. But the fact is, there is no accountability in the state system. India has 70,000 pathologists and radiologists all put together, serving 1.1 billion population. India has over 50,000 diagnostic laboratories. For those of you who know the number, you would be shocked to know that only 250 laboratories in India are accredited. Very few laboratories in the state sector in India are accredited, probably maybe a PGI or 2, not even the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. My company accounts for half of the accredited capacity in the country. What does accreditation do? Because you're sure of the accuracy of your reports, because you're sure of using high-end equipment from the likes of Dr. Bhuvnesh Agarwal's Roche or Siemens or Abbott or any other company, it costs you more to deliver those services. And therefore, quality in India in healthcare terms, where instrumentation of world class, where talent of world class is being used, comes at a cost. And therefore, any PPP model that we wish to place in place, I think we have to know who is paying. End of the day, it's the people of India who pay for everything that happens in this country. If you look at one simple economic fact, we pay over 30% by way of direct taxes on our earnings. We pay average 20% value-added tax on the basket of commodities that we consume. So for every rupee that you and I earn, 50 paisa goes back to the government. So we are paying. Who is paying? Government is nobody else, it's us. It's the people of India, people of our country who are paying for those services. Now if 70,000 pathologists and radiologists serving 50,000 laboratories, of which 250 are proven accredited to be accurate, then I completely agree with you, we have a problem. unless the diagnosis is correct, the chance of treatment being correct goes down very significantly. We're lucky to have very experienced doctors who see so many cases that they're able to get it right most of the time. But that's not on the strength of diagnosis, that's on the strength of experience. And experience always has the error of margin. Experience always has the risk that accompanies that. So if we wish to make a PPP model, a private-public partnership model, we have to come with the realization that over 65% spending in Indian healthcare comes from the private sector, not from the state. 2/3 of every dollar of investment that we make in this country in healthcare delivery comes from people of India, private. State is the invincible master of the primary care network. You cannot challenge it, because why I as a private investor would go and set up a hospital in a village when I'm not assured of return on my capital? So we pay taxes to the state to do that. The secondary and tertiary and government iconic institutions like the AIIMS, like the PGIs, like the new AIIMS that are getting created, is a model that needs to be put in place. Doctors brought out so beautifully. What is telemedicine? It is empowerment of the medical talent in the country. We have young doctors. I often make this statement. Graduates coming out of our universities, that included me when I graduated, are unemployable in skill terms because we know very little. We have to learn on the job. We are picking it up on the job. So for the first year, we are not really productive. We are learning. And if we are learning, we need to be connected to the talent network in our respective areas. And if we have to make the public-private partnership work, which is unavoidable, otherwise we cannot, by the next millennium, also reach the goals of this millennium, we have to put everybody together. And that cannot be done by paying mere lip service. You'll be surprised to know a major defect that exists in all the PPP executions that have taken place in our country in diagnostics industries. When a tender document goes out for public-private partnership, the equipment supplier and the service provider both are open to bid. Okay, for instance, GE or Siemens bids for radiology tender, and me as India's largest radiology supplier also bids for tender. I don't make the equipment, GE and Siemens don't render the services. Then why have a document of that nature where either of us don't do the other job? So then the tender document provides that you can create a special purpose vehicle. Why do a long thing for a short solution? You know, the idea is to put together our hospital network, the state hospital network, the private hospital network together. And we can solve the government problems. We are free to use whichever equipment serves a need best. But we cannot have the non-service provider and the non-equipment maker bid for the same. And the most important thing is there is no free lunch. Somebody has to pay. And we pay. India has probably, I mean today US and UK are wilting under the load of their own fallacy of healthcare where everything is provided. We fly in tests from United Kingdom every day to perform in our laboratories. And at the end of 1 year, we thought we will let our friends in UK know how much saving they have made. And we said, okay, you sent us so many allergy tests or so many of these tests. What was your cost? And that's when I found out that the National Health Service in the United Kingdom, which is one of most evolved bodies in the world, has no idea how much it costs to do any test. Absolutely clueless. Because it's taxpayers' money, you do it. You don't do it today, do it tomorrow. Don't do it tomorrow, do it day after. Now, we are bidding very successfully for teleradiology models for overseas countries also. Because Western countries, 5 p.m., the doctor is not available to read a report. So the images are transported electronically to our cockpits, and we are reading those. We are working on doing telehistopathologies. We are just blessed to be working at a time when the West sleeps. What has happened in our BPOs and KPOs needs to happen in our healthcare centers. Our talent is the best. The role of PPP is to empower this talent to deliver. It's our doctors, ladies and gentlemen, it's our paramedics that really run the most efficient and successful healthcare delivery services, whether it is in the United States, or it's in United Kingdom, or in the Middle East. But we just need to create that empowerment, and that empowerment would come with a very transparent, simple process that we need to work together. Let's make that process simple. Let's trust in each other. The government needs to trust the private sector. The private sector needs to trust the state. And when we come together, I think we create a strong, healthy India, which is really the need of the public-private sector. So these were my opening comments, sir.
Okay. Thanks to PPP also stands for patient, physician and provider combination. Probably that is what it is missing in India. So just we'll have a look at the composition of the audience. Can I know how many of you are practicing physicians or medical practitioners? Okay. And how many of you are providers? Maybe service provider, software provider, hardware? Okay. How many of you are patients or don't want to be patients? No, not like that. Truly, none of these two. None of the practitioners are providers. Okay. So you see the composition of the audience. What we are talking is the providers versus the providers only. The real partnership is missing. And Dr. Mishra has made a very categorical remark that the demand is not created, we are just putting the cart where there is no heart or there is no horse. How do you think this is the situation? What is your experience in Raichur? Do you think still people are cynical or they don't want to come to the non-traditional teleconsultation approach?
Thank you. Just when we actually talk to the doctors at Telerad, which is offering the consulting in partnership with Cisco, initial experience was that the patients would just come to the telepresence screen, they would look, they would be very curious as to what's going on, they would be afraid to talk. But as slowly they started talking to the doctors, and then they would walk by every day just to say hello to the doctors. So the initial skepticism and the cynicism actually went away and they became more confident. And what also happened is that the doctors started using the medium as a way to also educate the patients on basic health and hygiene. So the way the telemedicine has also evolved in this particular context is beyond just the diagnosis and treatment of the patients to actually preventive care as well, because there is a relationship which gets built over time between the patients and the doctors, because they are able to come as needed. They don't have to think about traveling, leaving their jobs and going for 2-3 days. They can just walk by the clinic. If there is an appointment time available, they can go see the doctor. So I think from the patient side and the doctor side, that cynicism and skepticism has went away. I would say that.
How many of the people or members in the audience feel the market is not ready or there are no takers for telemedicine in a true sense? We are all trying to push the services or our technologies on the heads of the people. Any reaction? Now, how do you feel the market is really looking for? Because today we are sitting here just to, in the imagination that there is a demand, there is a technology, there is a money and a need and benefit. but still it is not moving.
See, okay, my name is Dr. Umashankar. I'm from Meenakshi Mission Hospital and Research Center, and we are running telemedicine centers in the rural area. So it's what the people are taking care of, the what do you call the technology. They understand technology. Only thing is they don't know what is available. See, when we have to go and we have to tell them what is available, see, there is no demand for that. Unless we go and tell them what is there, how will they know? They don't know what is telemedicine. So in our center, what we do, we go and talk to the patients, sorry, the villagers, and tell them, see, this is what is available. This is what we are going to get it for you. And then we involve the community, and then automatically the people are coming to the telemedicine centers.
Okay, in a way, at least they are not aware. So when you explain them, they are ready to embrace the technology.
Yes, definitely.
And
yes.
they don't see it as a technology per se.
No,
it is only a medium.
Medium, yes. Technology is not a barrier for anybody in the rural area.
That's a good thing. Maybe if I can answer on her behalf, basically the general resistance to go to a virtual doctor or some of the cultural and traditional stoppages which feel, okay, let me spend more money or more time, or if not now, at least after 10 days during the weekend I will go and prefer to see a doctor in reality rather than going to a nearby electronic clinic or an electronic doctor. So that is one of the stumbling blocks in some of the academic papers.
Can the doctor really treat me or not? Right, so basically in this particular case, a patient had a particular health condition. So by talking to the doctor, they figured out what the actual issue was. And then they were able to diagnose and bring the patient in for an actual operation. And then after that, once the patient went back from Bangalore, they were able to continue to keep in touch. So then the patients kind of, that whole trust thing also built up that, yeah. Yeah. But he won't do anything.
But finally he may not give a solution, right solution to me, or even if he gives something, he will not be found responsible for the after effects. That is one of the things which will really come out. That is what exactly other speakers have told. Earlier India or most of us were not willing to do the online transactions or using the credit card. But now enough secure mechanisms are established, they are proven.
To give opportunity to some of the people who have really tried their luck in PPP model, and let us hear from them what is their experience. I can only suggest one person with whom I worked for last 2 years. When I got disgusted, like your model I took, somebody can speak to somebody to get some opinion and manage. And we don't have the so-called venture capitalist as in US. In my sense, a rural venture capitalist worked with organization from in Orissa. And the model that we created and what we did and the 2 years experience with the stakeholders, I want to hear from the horse's mouth. This will be one of the case study for you. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes you can describe.
Thank you, Dr. Usha.
Introduce,
So,
sir.
OTET takes up the projects based on the need, not based on the ROI. So for OTET, it was a project to take it up, to deliver the healthcare services at the doorstep, healthcare for all. Last 3 years, you can say it was pilot, and it is highly accepted by the people. So the motto was how to make it available to them and how we can interact with the doctors, with the diagnostic tools, whatever possible. And now we have created a virtual OPD which transmits the data directly to the doctors. In a PPP mode, it took 2 years for me to sign the agreement with Government of Orissa. that too without any investment from government side. So, actually in some of the government hospitals, the doctors, Odisha government was doing, and it was also initiative of Professor Mishra to take it up in Odisha with SV Medical College. And government miserably failed, reason being that they couldn't able to provide time in the hospital. The intention, if you are something to the concerned professors, yes, your case can be taken up with SDPGI, your case can be taken up with AIMS. So that is one barrier every one of us we know in government. So unless until, as I have mentioned, that it is a project which really is a need, and telemedicine, I felt, I believe in Satya Sai Baba. So when initially I initiated this program, I went to Swami. Swami, should I go ahead? Yes, go ahead. Inauguration was made in one district, that is in Raigada, the remote place where doctors were not available. And I told the Chief Secretary, the then Chief Secretary, that yes, I can make all the specialists available in all KBK districts like Kalahandi, and so yes, government will be very much proud of it. I said, I will do it because it is very plain and simple. Total Vizag hospitals were depending on the customers from, they were depending customers from those districts. So I consulted all the nursing homes, hospitals to depute one specialist every week so that I can take them to rural, they can provide free services, and their catchment, their business also they will get, any patient, those who are, so they can, so that telemedicine was not initiated, this is 5 years back, and that leads me to take up this.
Sir, if we can sum it up like a do's and don'ts, can you sum it up in one sentence? What is that we have to do, what we should not do? Just 2 sentences.
Now I have one request to the society. So I came just 2 hours before. The participants, those who are there, we participate, I am participating last 3 years. This is a very nice gathering, nice show, but the society should take it up now, where I can provide all those things has been done to move the government door.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So
we'll take it up. No, we have to sum up because there are so many people. What we wanted to listen
so
from
now we have opened,
from your experience,
no,
one
now,
do and one don't in the PPP model. This is what you should do. This is what you should not do.
Now AIMS, we have opened a center.
Okay.
Safdarjung we are going to start.
Okay.
And it is highly appreciated by, and we have number of people have been benefited. So once we take it up from the society, as many speakers have mentioned about it, means are there, it should be taken up with unity. So it will be the only alternative, and every government will be interested.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, can I get any other question from the audience before we move on? Yeah.
No,
Please be specific.
No,
the idea here
I
is
would like
about
to make an announcement before it proceeds. We have to complete this session by 6:30 because 6:45 the general body meeting of the Telemedicine Society.
Sir, we have one more session in between. 2 more papers are to be presented. Unfortunately,
because of that very short interjections by the people. Now my question is, see, you have discussed about the PPP. So as you know, Sanjeev Chaudhary said, yeah, we can have the PPP, we should have the government, we should have the industry. We have been doing this for several years. The doctors have put their effort, industry, but it is not seeing the light of the day. It may not say, as somebody mentioned. Why should a PPP? You remove one P, public you remove. for the time being. It goes on, public, government hospitals. We have seen pre-independence and post-independence. We have seen. Leave the public. Can you think of private industry, doctors, that is healthcare provider, hospital, equipment provider, and venture capitalist, insurance company all together, some forum up in there, this one. Can you discuss that and come out so that it starts working? PPP is going to come. We have heard PPP in every field, oil exploration or in fact space technology, everything we have done. That is my request. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one second.
Hi, good evening. Seeing telemedicine as a business proposition only, right? Are we not delivering less than standard services? I don't want to use the word substandard because, you know, it might sound too negative. But of course, there is no alternative to a physical interaction with a doctor, which will obviously have its own legal issues, which I attended a session there in Hall B, and I'm telling you, if you would have attended that session, you would have second thoughts about this. So taking that into account, are we not, for the PPP, are we not gambling on the fact that as we are providing healthcare to those who have almost zero access, the government should fund it? Are we not gambling on this?
As far as the substandard part of this thing is concerned, that less than standard, as you said. What I'd like to tell you is that what you're saying is right. See, there is, somebody said about a virtual OPD. You can have the biggest authorities in medicine sitting on the other end, but if they've not understood what the patient from one end has said, they are going to make the type of mistakes that you're talking about. So therefore, at both ends, you have to have it supported. So therefore, you've got to have human intelligence sitting on one side and indicating what is the history. The history is vital. You can't make a diagnosis by looking at imagery. It just doesn't come until and unless you, say for example, I could tell you, in a child, the diagnosis of acute appendicitis and regional lymphadenitis is the same. Now, your imagery will pick up exactly the same findings. But when you put your finger in the McBurney's point and the patient jumps off the bed, you know he's got appendicitis. So therefore, you require somebody at the other end to make this happen. Now, if it was, say, between Mumbai and, say, Pune, and this mistake occurred, you would have a consumer forum presentation straight away, because this is medical negligence. But
for further debate and discussions. Sorry if I'm interrupting you. Any other point from the audience?
Yeah. Do we have time? I just want to quickly answer what Satyamurthy was mentioning about. See, I totally agree with you. I mean, we can do away with this 1P and add many other players into it and make it work. See, if you take telemedicine as a, I actually hesitate to use the word telemedicine. I personally feel that it is time TSI looked at a larger scope of functioning and call it just the word which Dr. Sujit said, virtual health. I think 10 years back when we started it was telemedicine. Today it is convergence. It is not convergence of telecommunication alone. You just see the gadget players coming into the game. You look at what is going to be successful for telemedicine, let me tell you, is that if you can have more and more digital gadgets coming to play, which can directly integrate with the caregiving, otherwise the doctor doesn't have so much of time. Second thing is data entry is a problem in medical profession. We all have to stand up and admit the fact that capturing patient data at point of care is the biggest challenge which healthcare industry and technology has today. We haven't found a solution for it which is apt for it, because doctors being a skilled profession, any technology solution that you create has to be as close to the natural way he works. We haven't been able to find that. So what we need to do is that we should look for partnership between the digital gadget players which are coming in, like the multifunction, the digital stethoscope, the digital ECG, all the gadget manufacturing players on one side, technology, telecommunication on the other side, and the doctors, providers, fraternity on that is a triangle which I would draw with three angles to the triangle, which we can make it work.
Thank you, Girish. Before we sum up, can we just try to do some justice to the panel and draw up a Pancha Sutra for penetration of e-health in India, particularly rural health? We need not restrict ourselves to rural health. Pancha Sutra, just one sutra from each of you, just one sentence, if you can sum up. What you feel should be done?
While you are thinking. So I feel as the models that is going to work and that is working is a teleradiology model. That's going to work in the totally private setup, because there's a huge network or here huge infrastructure on the newer radiological solutions, and already two models are working very well and it is so effective. That one thing they can really house somebody want to venture out from provider side.
Okay. You want to say something?
See, I want to say something which many practitioners might hold me against, but with due apologies, what I want to say is that most of the telemedicine setup which are static, which has been created in many hospitals, are idling. They don't even open the doors, that's a fact. The reason is that either the clinician who's, for whatever reasons, he doesn't have time.
Please suggest what you want to do.
That's what I'm trying to say, that either you provide the clinicians with the mobile gadgets or a device by which he is able to catch the patient data, attend to that anywhere, anytime. Expecting him to move to on a scheduled time to go and sit in a telemedicine center and work, that is not working.
Okay. So you want to say enable the people with mobile gadgets and more health. Yeah. Okay.
I would just say, sir, that there are three things. We should move on to teleradiology and enhance it, laboratory, the diagnostics, and emergency medicine, whether it be obstetric, because I'm a gynecologist, I'm talking about obstetrics, but it doesn't have to be. Emergency medicine is something that we should look at. So therefore, a system by which addresses emergency medicine should be looked at.
Okay.
I completely echo the sentiment coming from both the doctors. Telediagnostics can lead the solution to create a very, very powerful virtual health enterprise for this country. I think the private sector, the state sector, and private partnership is working there already. The good thing is no hospital in India claims to do all the diagnostic tests. Everybody participates in that. Everybody's built a center of excellence around their own area of expertise. I think private partnership will lead the way for public-private partnership.
Yeah, I think Dr. Satyamurthy, you kind of asked us, started a good discussion with the leaving out one P, right? But I think everybody has alluded to all the sort of right things. So the only thing I would add is we can't completely exclude the one P. Maybe we leave the public health practitioners out of the equation because they are already overloaded. I mean, my sister works in a government hospital and I know how overloaded she is. Every time there is a riot in Mumbai, she cannot come home. She has to leave a 5-year-old kid at home. So I think the way the government needs to enable this, the other two pieces in terms of the financial model and helping the other two Ps to make it a viable system, because otherwise, we are only serving the top 10% of the population. I think the rest of the population is where the healthcare needs to go as well, and that's where the third P needs to enable that. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. We, for lack of time, we could not discuss. Actually, I had a point. How about a venture capital or some kind of special loans through banks, like the agricultural loans for the people to come up and then sustain them for at least till the break even. Anyway, for lack of time, we are not able to discuss. But then let us summarize. Sir, somebody wants to quickly answer on his pharma aspect, or we will discuss offline? Okay, with your permission, we will summarize, though we couldn't discuss exactly as what we wanted. The points that came up is there should be a clear decision about free versus charged services, and if so, they should be legitimately decided and fixed. Then roles and responsibilities are to be fixed and clearly defined in the PPP model. And definitely once you decide the roles and responsibilities, there will be different measures and metrics which will keep monitoring the roles and responsibilities and the discharge of the responsibilities. Then the success story in Raichur brings out that the people are ready to embrace the technology. They are ready to come out of the traditional views and go in front of the camera or see a doctor on a screen. Then fail to create demand is one view which is created. Again, the other colleague from the Meenakshi Sundaram Hospital has told that people are ready. Only it needs more training and discussion with the patients or the so-called consumers. Then the business case will happen only if the government thinks, and don't start with the government. That is the suggestion from Professor Mishra. Then outsource. No, no, it is okay. We understood. No, no, we understood. We understood. It is understood. But still, you have to know the reality, and sleeping with an enemy is a solution. You cannot totally remove the P. Okay? You have to sleep with the enemy and make it better. That's all. Be friend with your enemy. Then business case will happen. That is that. Then outsourcing with an SLA in place. That is really the thing. Because just simple outsourcing and then going to private companies, and privatization is not the only solution. We have seen what happened to Kingfisher this morning also. It is not the solution. It is equally bad like an Air India. So SLA should be in place, and that should be monitored. Then the government should implement definitely or put in place a right policy and the right infrastructure, and then leave the operations in the long run. And we have to see, already it is known, the excellence is somewhere in the one kind of hospitals, and the patient care or the customer relation management is followed even in hospitals in the private. That is the difference. Then measures to declare the health of a nation should be redefined, as one of our panelists has told. Just declaring that we have this kind of equipment or a 6 crore equipment or 2 million patients coming is not the thing. We have to get to the realities and to define it as a truly healthy nation. Then people are taking the technology but not aware. This is the point which was again repeated. And last but not least is, it is a time-consuming approaches need to be curtailed. You cannot totally avoid a tender process or a responses or your technical and commercial evaluation. Definitely it is not going to, cannot be eliminated. Even when we want to buy even one shirt or one trouser also, we do all these things without these names, tenders, evaluation, etc. But you go to 4 shops, you see who is talking to you, who is good, which is again cost effective. It is all done. You cannot eliminate, but only you can curtail and reduce the cycle of events. Last but not least, once again, is cynicism of the government is in joining the private industry or in embracing and in joint partnership or a joint venture with industry. It has taken up in certain segments, and we have seen the good benefits of the PPP in true sense. Let us hope one day or the other the PPP will really come up in place, and let us hope for that healthy India. Thank you.